So to understand what makes a rebound relationship, what's important to know is what makes an authentic, that high energy, that high chemistry, that electricity relationship. Well, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that opposites really do attract. What I mean by that is the person that you're going to have the most chemistry with most often is somebody that has attributes, abilities, talents, aspects of their personality that you might not share. It's easier to have admiration and excitement for somebody who's not wired the same as you. A quick example would be, let's say that you're an extrovert, or what we refer to kind of as that performer mentality. Somebody that likes to tell jokes, that likes to be on stage. Maybe you're an actor. Maybe you like to sing. You like to express yourself. Well, why are you going to be strongly attracted to somebody who has all of those same abilities and talents? It's not going to give you a chance to shine. It's not going to create attraction and admiration as much in somebody who has the same gift as you. But imagine now that you're around somebody that's more introverted, that maybe is more of a planner, that's maybe more of an organizer. Maybe they're even a deeply talented architect or a lawyer, something that kind of maintains and depends on this sense of consistency. Maybe you're the kind of person that can't be chained to a desk or an office. You like to be extroverted and outgoing. You kind of thrive off interacting with people. Well, the person you're most attracted to might have abilities, and consistently the person that you have the most electricity with is going to be somebody who doesn't have the same abilities as you. Like when I was younger, I did stand-up comedy for a very short period of time. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to be on a date with somebody that was making jokes all the time. I don't want to be with somebody that's just as funny as me. It's hard for that person to see me as funny if that's a gift that they have. I want to be with somebody that would know how to kind of be serious and maintain, not serious all the time, but somebody that could just kind of focus on a task that I might find mind-numbingly boring. They might be more calm, more rational, more detail-oriented. So you get the idea. You can even see it in fictional characters. Look at Han Solo and Princess Leia from the old school. Look at any kind of detective show that you've ever seen. Look at shows like Modern Family. You'll consistently see this theme of opposites attract. It's a real thing. It's not even something mystical or magical. It's just that we're more consistently attracted to people that have the opposite attributes and skill sets and personality styles that we do, as long as you have a strong overlap in moral code and life goals. If you don't have a strong overlap in moral code and life goals, then you're probably going to have you're kind of running into a wall that all the attraction in the world isn't going to be able to solve. But as long as you have those two things consistently, the people that have those attributes we don't have, we're going to be most attracted to. Well, guess what happens? When you're in a relationship long enough, that admiration can easily start to turn to frustration. In other words, the extroverted person might think, well, I'm tired of being held back. I want to go out more. I want to be with my friends. I don't need to make these detailed, well thought out plans. I just kind of like to live in the moment. Meanwhile, the other person might look at you and say things like, I can't stand how you're not good at planning. You're not good at saving. You're not good at follow through. I can't depend on you. It's time for you to grow up. So even though that person initially might be the kind of person that excites you and stirs all this admiration, if you're together with them long enough, the very things about their personality that created attraction is eventually going to cause deep frustration. So a sad part of relationships that most people don't know because we're not taught this kind of thing in school is that the person that might seem like your life partner, your soulmate, that person that you fit with the best, inevitably, sooner or later, is going to seem like the person that you fit least with, that you're really not supposed to be with. I need to be with somebody more like me. So eventually, if these things aren't understood, the same dynamics that drew you together is going to push you apart. Well, when it pushes you apart, a lot of times you've been in that relationship long enough that you have scars. In other words, kind of sticking with this example, this isn't the only version of the dynamic, but kind of just to stick to one example, that person after years might think, you know what? I've been with her for so long and I feel like I don't measure up to what she expects. I feel like I don't hit her standard. Nothing I do for her is ever good enough. So you get to a point that after years, you feel so beaten down, maybe you in that relationship, maybe that guy's broken up with you and he just wants to feel wanted. He wants to feel admired. He wants to feel like he's good enough the way he is. So in that state, it's very easy after a breakup like that for him to find somebody wired more like him. Or maybe your ex-girlfriend is looking for a man more like her. In other words, the other side of that might be, I'm tired of being with him. He never grew up. He never took responsibility. He was never dependable. He didn't take his career seriously enough. He didn't take what I told him I needed seriously enough. So she breaks up with you to get relief from the frustration that comes with being with the person that you fit best with. In that state, she might go try to find a guy that gives her more calm, maybe somebody that's more reliable. If she's kind of that introverted, and again, this is just an example, but if she's that introverted personality that just kind of got tired and worn down from being with somebody that wasn't enough like her, you can get to that point of mind where you're thinking, all right, we're not a good fit. I need to go find somebody more like me. I need to find somebody more dependable. I need to find somebody more reliable. I need to find somebody that we can make plans together and know that it's going to happen. I need to be with a grown-up. And that's a scary thing to be. In that moment, because of the wound that comes from being with somebody that's a good match, and again, our best matches come from being with the opposite. It comes with being with somebody that balances us out. That balance is what really creates attraction. But after a while, when the bruises build up and they break up with you, they're going to be drawn to somebody more like them. A better way of saying it, they're going to be drawn to somebody that's less like you. In other words, instinctively, we don't want to be with somebody. Like, God forbid, let's say me and my wife aren't together anymore. A natural instinct might be for me to find somebody that just piles on more praise. My wife has a high standard of excellence. Like if she does something, she likes to do it to a certain degree. She likes to make sure that it's done and it meets a certain level of expectation. And if it doesn't, she'll just redo it. Well, I love her for that. I don't necessarily share that mentality. I admire it in her. But it can get exhausting feeling like I don't know how to measure up to it. So God forbid, let's say she broke up with me. If I was going to be, or in another alternate reality to make the scenario work, let's say that I broke up with her because I was a fool. If I broke up with her, instinctively, based on the wounds that I have from a good relationship, I might try to find somebody that is more positive all the time. That every little thing I do, they're just like, oh, Ken, you're amazing. Oh, you're so funny. Oh, Ken, you're so smart. And doesn't tell me the things where I don't quite measure up. Because I'm dealing with wounds from that relationship, this relationship feels right. It might even feel magical. Like I get a strong sense all of a sudden of feeling admired and respected. And I go from being in a relationship for a long time where I don't feel like I really measured up to feeling like I'm the most impressive man in the room. And for the short to mid-term, that's intoxicating. And if you don't know what's driving these decisions and behaviors, a lot of times that person can now feel flooded with a sense of importance, a sense of being really passionately wanted and looked up to. Well, that's really kind of an addicting feeling. So for the short to mid-term, let's say that I didn't know what I was doing and I fell for somebody like that, and I would think, oh, this feels so much better. You know, my ex-wife never really valued me, never really cared about me, never really made me feel good about myself. But this new person I'm with, she's more like me. She likes to be extroverted. She doesn't want to work behind a computer for 14 hours a day. She likes to go out and have fun. She thinks all my jokes are hilarious. As a matter of fact, she's really funny too. But it's short term. That's what a rebound relationship really is. It's when they're picking somebody, not really because they have a natural, strong connection to that other person. A rebound relationship is when they're picking somebody else because that other person is soothing the wounds that they got from being in the real relationship. And sometimes that can take a while to play out. And it can take longer than the normal standard rebound relationship time frame, depending on how deep the wounds are that they got from you and how good it feels to feel better about areas that they felt beat up. They might stay with that person for an amount of time that really scares you. But here's the good news. But consistently, when you're with somebody or when your ex has picked somebody that's that's instinctively the person they picked, not because there's that strong natural attraction that they had with you. Whether they know it or not, a lot of times they're drawn to that rebound relationship because that new personality, that new person is soothing the wounds that they got from being in a relationship with you. In the moment it feels right and it feels good and they think, oh, this makes so much more sense. I don't know why I tried to make it work with that person as long as I did, but being with them, it takes the anxiety down. Now you have two introverts together. Now it's like, well, now I know I can rely on them. Now I know they're dependable. This feels better. But give it time. When it plays out, the excitement, the same excitement's not there. The same chemistry's not there. Because they picked somebody to try to soothe and heal the wounds they got from being in the real relationship. And when those wounds heal, and when that sense of relief fades away, and it will fade away, suddenly they're left with somebody that can't really generate the same level of attraction and affection that they got from you. So if you're in no contact, and maybe they broke up with you because they found somebody else, if your relationship was long enough and meaningful enough that it fits the scenario I've described, a lot of times the person that they're with, that may not make sense to you. Like, how are they attracted to him? How are they attracted to her? That person's nothing like me, and I know what we had was real. Why are they with them? That's why they're with them. Because that new person is kind of it's relieving the anxiety, the fear, the bruises, the wound that they got from being with you. This new person is making that feel better, but it fades with time. And once it fades with time, the person they're with doesn't actually have the base personality to maintain that level of attraction, to maintain that level of chemistry, or what we call fire and electricity. So give it time to play out. But what happens too many times, especially in no contact is scary enough. So you find out that when they broke up with you, they quickly got with somebody else. And now you want to know if it's a rebound relationship. Well, I just described what a rebound relationship was. So go back and listen to that again. You might need to listen to it a couple of times to really kind of understand the principles I'm trying to explain. But once you realize what a rebound relationship is, if you can kind of center yourself, give them time to play out, give that other relationship time for them to realize that, once that feeling of relief wears off, and now I realize that I'm not with my ex anymore, they'll start to realize that same electricity, that same excitement and passion that they felt initially, they're going to realize that's going to fade. As long as you haven't chased them while they're in that relationship is going to go away faster. If, however, you're in no contact, which is hard enough, and you see that they're starting to date somebody else, and you don't know if it's a rebound, and even if it is a rebound, it's adding to your panic and your anxiety, and it's creating this compulsion for you to jump into that relationship and remind them how good it was with you. Well, then you've just made a really strong, understandable, but significant tactical mistake, because you have to look at it like this. When somebody's broken up with you and they've started a relationship with somebody else, imagine their ego is right here, like it's right here, right? Everybody has an ego. Their sense of value is right here, and it's not filled completely while they're in the relationship, because after a while, when you're with somebody, it's like that excitement, that limerence drops. When it drops, that sense of importance and value, it drops from like maybe let's say this is your ego. It's not 100% anymore when you've been with somebody for a while. Even if it's good, it might be 80%. When they break up with you and they start going out with somebody else, they're connecting with somebody else now, and you're in pursuit or you're not in no contact. Now there's two high value people feeding them a sense of worth. If their ego's here, it's now overflowing. In other words, wow, he really wants me back. He's fighting to keep me. And now they have the new person. That new person's feeding their ego. So now they have two high value people feeding this ego, and it's overflowing. That's a very addictive position to be in. And if somebody has two people chasing them, even if they've only picked one, it still makes them feel very wanted. It gives them an overinflated sense of worth. So they tend not to move from that position. And you become the bonding agent. Whereas if you had stayed out of the competition and refused to jump in and compete with that new rebound relationship, if you'd stayed out of it, sooner or later they were going to realize that this person was more of a reaction to deal with the wounds I got from the person I really love. This isn't really the person that I deeply love. This is just the person that I turned to when my bruises and my wounds from the relationship got too severe, and it'll fade. But if you jump into the relationship, you're accidentally framing that other person as the winner. Now you become the bonding agent for that relationship. And when they talk to the other person, it's like, yeah, he's still after me. Yeah, he's still trying to get me to come back. He doesn't understand we're together. No, he doesn't understand we're together. So you become this rallying point. You become the cause that they're fighting against. Now she wants to prove to you that this is the one for her and she doesn't want you back. And you're still giving her an overinflated sense of self-worth. So you're just reminding her more and more that she hasn't really lost you. It makes it impossible for them to feel a sense of loss for you, and you're accidentally magnifying the desire and the belief that this new person really is the right one for them. If you can kind of understand everything I'm saying in this video, take a deep breath, trust and identify what that rebound relationship looks like. Give them time to let the anxiety and the wounds and the fears and the frustrations that they got from being with you, give those time to just kind of heal, and give them time to realize the person that they chose over you might not actually be the person that ignites the same kind of passion, fire, and electricity that will hold them long term. I know it's a scary thing to do, but listening to that voice that says, I need to do something. I need to find a way to communicate that I'm the love of their life. I need to be able to point out this new person isn't as good as me, and maybe they just need me to jump in and fight for the relationship. Fighting for the relationship hurts you, so don't do it. The fundamentals of limerence, that feeling of being in love, the fundamentals of it are when you're new, when you're forbidden, when you're exciting, and when you're too new to understand your flaws. In other words, they call it idealized. So you're fighting an unfair fight when you try to compete with that new relationship, And it's much stronger. It projects way more strength to be able to project the strength to walk away than it ignites reattraction by trying to fight for them. In other words, if there's two people feeding that ego, it's a very addictive place to be in, and it's just going to drain the attraction they feel for you. If, however, you say, hey, this isn't what I wanted, but if you don't want to be with me, I don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with me, so take care, and then you leave. Human nature, that's a shot to the ego. Now it's not overflowing. It's going to drop, and it's going to be more realistic. And human nature makes us wonder about the person strong enough to leave more than we feel grateful for the person who stayed, especially if that person who left is somebody that you're used to getting a sense of importance and a sense of worth out of. So that projects way more strength than refusing to leave. If you need any more one-on-one coaching on this, just to clarify, you can find me at dotheyloveme.com. I do one-on-one coaching, and please leave comments and questions below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks a lot.